to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj. I want to pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I want to pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I want to pay my obeisances to Lord Narayan. I want to welcome Lord Dham and all the Devis and Devatas that enacted in the Ramayana. I want to welcome those of you that are watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. This is day 2 of the Sri Ramayana week, and our topic for discussion is the perfect disciple. This is deeply entrenched in the Ramayana. The Ramayana entrenches the Guru principle in its absolute state, one where the Lord Himself becomes the disciple of His Guru, and 2, where Lord Hanuman shows how to become a perfect disciple. So this Guru principle is intertwined in all of the events that take place in the Ramayana. And it is most important to adhere to the Guru principle as taught by Lord Narayan in his form as Lord Ram. So the Ramayana is not a superhero story. It's not a mythology. The Lord, in His first form, in His full human form, shows humankind how to live as humans. Humanity itself is a principle, and it is not a particular human being. For all humans do not live the life as prescribed in the Vedas and as enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those that do not live their lives according to the prescription of the Vedas are no less or even less than animals themselves, because there is a principle called the human principle, which is represented by each one of us when we take a human body. So when we take a human body, we have to live as per the prescripts that has been expounded in the scriptures by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These material universes, right now, in another universe, it's Treta Yuga, and Lord Ram is enacting the Ramayana in that universe. In another universe, it is Dwapara Yuga, and Lord Sri Krishna is enacting his pastimes in that universe. And this continues eternally. This pastimes of the Lord enacting Himself continues eternally. The Lord has stated in the Bhagavad Gita that although He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and there is nothing for Him to do Supreme Personality of Godhead in his incarnation as Lord Sri Krishna has stated in the Bhagavad Gita that although he is the Supreme Lord and there is absolutely nothing for him to do, nevertheless he has to perform action so that human kind may follow these actions. And it is for this reason that the Supreme Personality of Godhead leaves his comfort in Vaikuntha and takes birth as an ordinary human being and goes through various sacrifices, austerities and penances in this life to lead by example. And if the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself has to perform actions, then anyone who is associated with a self-realization satsang as prescribed by the Vedic injunctions have to be involved in action. And action means seva. Not sitting and delegating seva, but practically and physically getting involved in seva in the very first of the four systems as prescribed in the Bhagavad Gita called Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means service to mankind, service to God through vigorous action. Action means physical action wherein you practically, through your energy, serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The system is absolute and the result is also absolute. The benefits are absolute and the failures also result in absolute failures. So it is very critical when you join a satsang wherein self-realization is the mandate of that satsang. And if you attend the satsang for other reasons, then Lord Narayan will timelessly remove you, for he resides within your soul. Every soul is ensouled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan. As per your merits in your previous life, he will bring you to this satsang. But if you do not conform to the prescriptions of his representative, then likewise he will remove you from the satsang. So, not a blade of grass blows without the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Raam. Whoever enters the satsang is motivated by Lord Narayan, and whoever has to depart this satsang is also motivated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who ensouls each and every soul. If a blade of grass cannot shake without Lord Narayan's consent, and how insignificant is a blade of grass, then we also cannot enter or leave a bona fide spiritual platform as per our own will. In by Lord Narayan, out by Lord Narayan. You can lie you can cheat, you can con, you can do everything that you think you are, but in the end you're only deceiving yourself, because resident within you is the enforcer of the scriptures that the Guru teaches. So Lord Ram, Lord Narayan, in his very first full human form, appeared as Lord Ram. And he lived within the prescripts of the scriptures. And although he was unfairly asked not to take his throne, principally his father had made a deal with his first wife. And Lord Ram enforced his father's principled deed. So the Lord is showing humankind that principle before anything else. No matter whatever you have to sacrifice in life, Lord Ram sacrificed the kingdom because his father had made a deal. And for that deal to be principled, Lord Ram went and sacrificed his life for 14 years in the forest. So God is showing you himself. Lord Narayan is showing you himself that there is nothing more dearer to him, nothing more purer to him than living within principle. Living within principle. If you say it, you must live it or die in it. So I started my early years hoping to become a doctor. I loved education. I used to school in town, and when my mother could not afford bus fare for me to come to school, I used to cry. That is how much I loved education. When it was rainy and it was impossible to go to school in the rain, I used to be depressed and I used to cry. I loved education. And I had all the credentials by virtue of my marks in school. There used to always be, up until standard 9, people queuing up in the front to hustle 1 or 2 marks to get the 40%. I used to also be in the queue querying my 100% when I got anything less. And I was on my way to study medicine. Lord Narayan had different plans. And I was diverted from medicine into law, and from law, something that I never ever dreamt of, because as long as I was a student, I was against the South African police services because it was run by the apartheid government. I was somehow propelled into becoming a policeman. But today when I sit on this chair and I look at all the criminals that came into my satsang, I thank Lord Narayan. I thank Lord Narayan. I smell these criminals far away. I remember when I used to arrest these criminals. Such, you are the best hero in Bria police station. You are tops. I'll never forget you. And all those criminals who entered this satsang came with the same criminal mentality. Acharyaji, I'll never leave you. Every crook has stated that. And all those crooks that stated that is not you. Those that come and sit quietly, that do not con, they praise you on Facebook, they praise you in public, they write beautiful articles about you. Everything is a lie. Everything is a con. The greatest con men enter my satsang. Notwithstanding I'm a guru, notwithstanding the fact that I'm a guru, just my experience in the police force, I should sniff all of these con men. So I tell Sarita and Vasan that these cons won't last long. But I was explaining to one of my devotees that as a guru, I treat these cons as milk. I treat the cons as milk. Because today, milk is fresh. Today, milk is fresh. And I drink that milk today, knowing that if I don't drink that milk today, tomorrow it will be sour. So I already know the condition of the milk, and I already know the condition of the corn. So every day I give the corn the same treatment I give the milk. I relish the corn. And one day the corn becomes sour milk. All of you understand? As long as the corn is here, I will treat the corn as uncorn. Alright? And as they say, preaching is a thankless task. Okay? So, intertwined with this discourse is the Ramayana itself. Intertwined with this discourse is the Ramayana. Because the Ramayana was relevant in Treta Yuga 12 million years ago. It was relevant yesterday, and it is relevant today, and it will be relevant tomorrow. Three items are mentioned. The Supreme Personality of Godhead himself surrenders to his Guru, and when he surrenders to his spiritual master, he starts living the principles of the Absolute Truth. then Hanuman Baba becomes the perfect disciple. And in becoming the perfect disciple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he teaches how to live perfectly in observing and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Hanuman Baba's service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unparalleled even up to this moment in time. And we say, as Vaishnavites, that the foremost Vaishnavite is Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva incarnated as Lord Hanuman, and served Lord Ram on earth. So principally, the foremost Vaishnavite devotee of Lord Narayan is Lord Shiva, and he kept up the principle in his incarnation as Hanuman Baba and Lord Narayan's incarnation as Lord Ram. Then I want to come out of the story. I want to come out of the story and into spiritual science. In spiritual science, there are only two living entities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayan, and the infinite amount of souls which are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. A fraction of that souls which are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are living in the material universes. This fraction of the souls landed themselves in the material universes because of its innate character of the soul, which is desire and hatred. So let's see how we can fit in two principles, the Narayan principle and the demonic principle in your soul. In your soul. And how we can fit the Ramayan in your soul. How we can fit all the characters of the Ramayan in your soul. So we come in out of the story, which is external, and we're taking the concept, we're taking the conceptual aspect of the story, and now we are traveling inward into our own universe, which is our body. Within this universe, which is our body, lies the heart. Within the heart is a chakra, and within the chakra resides the soul. Within the soul resides Lord Narayan, and within the soul resides the innate characteristics of the soul, which is hatred and desire. Hatred and desire is represented by Ravana. Godliness is represented by Lord Narayan. So Ravana, from being an an external character in the enactment of the Ramayana becomes the internal character in the enactment of all your demonic activities. So when you are impelled by activities that are demonic, you represent Ravana, and when you are impelled by actions that are godly, you represent Narayan. So Lord Ram, which is the source of all pleasure, lives within every soul of every living entity. The qualities of desire and hatred also lives within every soul in all living entities, but it becomes prominent in the human body, whereby you can distinguish for yourself the Narayan within you and the Ravana within you. And I have shown all of this in my satsang over the years that went by. These two poles, the Narayan pole and the Ravana pole. And I said that every time that someone was flushed from the satsang, very few of them became neutral, and I never heard of them. Straight from Narayana, they get flushed into Ravana. They forget all they learned in the Narayana dimension, and they go into the Ravana dimension and become enemies. And Jaya and Vijaya, they became enemies of Lord Narayan in 3 births. So, when you become enemies of the system, it is your preordained destiny. It is your preordained destiny. However, it is up to you, because you still have choice whether to become soldiers of the system. And there is only one system. You cannot become an enemy of the system and join another system and think that you have become friends of that system. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is absolute. He resides in the soul. Same Supreme Personality of Godhead resides in the soul of all systems. And if you transgress one system, you transgress all the systems. So at this level of spirituality, you cannot go shopping. You cannot go shopping. Gurus cannot be accepted and rejected. One who rejects his guru has to live through 10,000 lifetimes in hell. One who accepts and rejects his or her guru has to live 10,000 lifetimes in hell. This is a verdict injunction, and it is depicted in the Ramayana itself. So you have to be very, very serious when you accept a guru. You cannot do guru shopping. There is no such thing as guru shopping. There is no such thing as guru shopping. If there was such thing as guru shopping, Lord Ram and Lord Sri Krishna would have had many, many gurus. Don't you think, Sita? One guru can elevate you to the next guru in the absence of your guru. Up until the time you meet your guru, Sita, there is a tradition of gurus holding you and preserving you and placing you into the lap of your own guru. But you cannot leave an institution of one guru and go through transgression to another. It is a seamless transfer of spirituality. From one guru, you elevate it to the next guru, whereby there was no animosity caused leaving one guru and accepting one guru. Remember, the guru principle is the third principle in creation. The first principle is the Narayan principle. The second principle is the creative principle. The third principle is the guru principle. And the 11th principle is the human principle. So a human being to a guru is very, very, very far away. From 3 to 11, there are many other principles in between. But because Vaishnavites practice as gurus on the 6th level, then those that do not understand the principle or are not loyal to the principle think that the guru has become their friend. And when they think that the guru has become their friend, then the nonsense begins. Those that connect with any transaction in any form whatsoever from the guru principle, then that is called the guru's grace. When after you meet the guru and you transact through the guru, any transaction, then that is called the guru's grace. The guru's grace becomes the glue that holds all the transactions in your life together so that you can live a happy life. When you break the relationship with your guru, then the grace, which was the glue, separates from holding all of the dimensions together to make your life peaceful. And when that glue dissolves, then you go back to your destiny. You go back to what was prescribed to you in this life. So through the enactment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayan, in his form as Lord Ram, 80% of the Ramayana, if analyzed spiritually, reflects the guru-disciple relationship. Lord Ram becomes the guru Hanuman Baba becomes the disciple. Vasishtha Muni becomes the Guru, Lord Ram becomes the disciple. And throughout the Ramayana, the original Ramayana contained 100,000 verses when it was spoken by Lord Brahma to Lord Shiva. 100,000 verses. Valmiki's Ramayana contains 24,000 verses. Both forms of the Ramayana in its 100,000 verses and the condensed version of 24,000 verses, the Guru principle is the most prominent and underlying principle in the Ramayana. Everything in the Ramayana is about the Guru principle. The word Guru appears thousands of times in the Ramayana. It starts off with the Guru principle and it takes its current as a raging Ganges as the Guru principles throughout all aspects of the Ramayana. And it ends with the Guru principle. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead ensured in his very first appearance as a human being that nothing can exist without the Guru principle. Every existence is dependent upon the Guru principle. And as I've stated yesterday, and I state tonight, without the Guru principle, you are simply breathing. With the Guru principle, you are living. And there's a difference between living and breathing. Because machines in ICUs can also make you breathe. But to live is another story. Are there any questions? Jai Shri Ram.